Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams Mataji.
Dandavat pranam, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Mataji,
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranam Mataji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So I think we can start, right? Is it okay if I start, everyone?
Yes, Mataji.
Is it okay if I start?
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Or should we wait for 1 more minute?
Mataji, Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Mataji.
We can start.
Yes, Mataji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jyaudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, chapter 26, verse 13. Okay, I'll read the verse today. Tripto Hrishta Sudartascha Kandarpa Akritasta Manasaha Na Vyachashta Para Aroham Grihinim Grihamedhinim. Tripto Hrishta Sudraptascha Kandarpa Akritas Manasaha Na Vyachashta Var Aroham Grihim Grihamedhinim. Triptaha, satisfied. Hrishta, joyful. Sudripta, being very proud. Cha, also. Kandarp, by Cupid. Akritsa, and attracted. Manasaha, his mind. Na, did not. Vyachashta, try. Var Aroham, higher consciousness. Grihinim, wife. Grihamedhinim, one who keeps her husband in material life. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. After taking his dinner and having his thirst and hunger satisfied, King Puranjan felt some joy within his heart. Instead of being elevated to a higher consciousness, he became captivated by Cupid and was moved by a desire to find his wife who kept him satisfied in his household life. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This verse is very significant for those desiring to elevate themselves to a higher level of Krishna consciousness. When a person is initiated by a spiritual master, he changes his habits and does not eat undesirable eatables or engage in the eating of meat, the drinking of liquor, illicit sex, or gambling. Sattvic ahar, foodstuffs in the mode of goodness, are described in the Shastras as wheat, rice, vegetables, fruits, milk, sugar, and milk products. Simple food like rice, dal, chapatis, vegetables, milk, and sugar constitute a balanced diet. But sometimes it is found that an initiated person, in the name of prasad, eats very luxurious foodstuffs. Due to his past sinful life, he becomes attracted by Cupid and eats good food voraciously. It is clearly visible that when a neophyte in Krishna consciousness eats too much, he falls down. Instead of being elevated to pure Krishna consciousness, he becomes attracted by Cupid. The so-called brahmachari becomes agitated by women, and the vanaprasth may again become captivated into having sex with his wife, or he may begin to search out another wife. Due to some sentiment, he may give up his own wife and come into the association of devotees and a spiritual master. But due to his past sinful life, he cannot stay. Instead of being elevated to Krishna consciousness, he falls down, being attracted by Cupid, and takes to another wife for sex enjoyment. The fall of the neophyte devotee from path of Krishna consciousness down to material life is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 5th chapter, verse 19 by Narad. Tapta sadharmam charanambujam hare bhajan apakvo athapate tato yati yatra kvavad va abhadram abhud amusyakim ko vartha apto abhajatam swadharmataha. This indicates that although a neophyte devotee may fall down from the path of Krishna consciousness due to his immaturity, his service to Krishna never goes in vain. However, a person who remains steadfast in his family duty or so-called social or family obligation does not take to Krishna consciousness receives no profit. One who comes to Krishna consciousness must be very cautious and refrain from prohibited activities, as defined by Rupa Goswami in his Upadeshamrita. Atyahara priyasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha lalyam cha shadvir bhaktir vinashyati. A neophyte devotee should neither eat too much nor collect more money than necessary. Eating too much or collecting too much is called atyahar. For such atyahar, one must endeavor very much. This is called prayas. Superficially, one may show himself to be very much faithful to the rules and regulations. Superficially, one may show himself to be very much faithful to the rules and regulations, but at the same time not be fixed in the regulatory principles. This is called niyam agraha. By mixing with undesirable persons or janasanga, one becomes tainted with lust and greed and falls down from the path of devotional service. Jnantimirandasya jnananjanchalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanyamanovistam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa gadamahyam dadati swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishbhanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhara Shiva Sadikar Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paschatya Deshatarine. After taking his dinner and having his thirst and hunger satisfied, King Puranjan felt some joy within his heart. Instead of being elevated to a higher consciousness, he became captivated by Cupid and was moved by a desire to find his wife, who kept him satisfied in his household life. All right, so we are reading from 4th Canto Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 26. The chapter is entitled King Puranjan goes to forest for hunting and the queen becomes angry. And yesterday we studied that King Puranjan decorated himself. Day before yesterday we studied he actually became very tired, very fatigued, and became very thirsty and hungry, and came back to his palace, and then he showered and ate proper food, rested, and when he woke up he felt refreshed. And then he put on the ornaments and sandalwood pulp. He decorated himself, and then he remembered his queen, and then says there's some joy in the heart again. So this is all allegorical. Okay, let me see who remembers what. So tell me one line answers. Okay, what does Puranjan represent? King Puranjana represents what?
Hare Krishna. Puranjana
Living entity.
Conditioned living entity.
Material
Conditioned living entity, right? Okay, what does the queen represent?
Material
intelligence.
Okay,
Material
what does his becoming fatigued, tired, and thirsty and hungry represent? What does being? Yes.
It represents being coming to conscious after having done the activities in the mode of passion.
It represents that he just remembered his sinful activity. He thought of his sinful activity.
Yes. Why he
All
killed
right,
animals?
and then what does his coming back to palace represents? Came back to palace. What does that represent?
That represents coming to his consciousness.
Yes, very nice. So he
Turning back to
gave up
Shastras.
in sinful activities and came back to his dharma. And then what does taking bath represent? He took bath, right?
That is the purification.
Inviting Brahmanas for purification.
Yes, he invited the Brahmanas and atoned for his actions of killing mercilessly the animal, innocent animals for no reason, rhyme or reason. He just killed. Okay, eating suitable food, what does that represent allegorically? He ate pure suitable food, no?
Give up the
Gave
meat
up
and
meat
the
eating.
intoxication.
Mode of goodness, invoking the mode of goodness.
So he gave up eating meat and liquor, okay? And then what does right being refreshed after he took rest represent?
To get knowledge through saintly person or bona fide spiritual master.
Yeah, someone else? Yes.
He is
What does it
steady.
represent?
He is very steady now.
Yes, very nice. So after taking rest, he becomes refreshed, means that now he's like somewhat, his memory is coming back and he's somewhat steady in his thought process that I actually did something wrong. All right, so then he decorated himself. So what does decorating himself with sandalwood pulp and ornaments represent that we studied yesterday? What does that represent? That he decorated himself with the, yes,
Knowledge.
Knowledge and spiritual consciousness.
knowledge
Knowledge
of
of religion.
religion and the self. All right. Okay. Somebody has some noise. If you can please mute yourself. You have some background noise. And then he remembered his queen. What does remembering his queen represent?
To come to
No, queen is intelligence. Huh?
Going back to material activities.
no, to comes to returns to his consciousness. That is Krishna consciousness.
He remembers his intelligence fixed in dharma.
Yeah, that's what he has. So he remembered his intelligence, which was actually guiding him. Because remember that queen was not very happy when he was going to go to the forest and hunt. She was angry actually, right? Which means that the intelligence was not so much in favor, but he was so much dragged by his intense desire that he didn't hear. He didn't hear the intelligence. All right. So then he remembered his queen after he dressed himself. Okay, now we did that. Now today's verse, after taking his dinner and having his thirst and hunger satisfied, he felt some joy within his heart. So a conditioned living entity, once, having hunger and thirst satisfied means, and eating proper diet means that once he was somewhat situated in his real self, his sinful results, sinful activities were going away from the heart. We can only become happy and steadily happy if we are not sinful. The only reason why a conditioned soul becomes fatigued, hungry, thirsty, death, old age, disease is because of the sin. Right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur Prabhupada does this. There's 6 waves, which leads to 6 effects. So the waves of lust, anger, greed, those 6, lobha, moha. What are the things? Lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and Ani, what is it? Oh, I think I said everything. Lust, anger, greed, illusion,
Anger.
madness, and
Anger.
envy. Very nice. Thank you. My son told me. Envy. Yes. Thank you. So, okay. So these push and create 6 effects. The effect of being thirsty, the effect of being fatigued. We are not supposed to get all that, but growing old, developing diseases, so all these things. So the only way a conditioned soul will ever feel satisfaction of the heart or joy within the heart and continue to feel it is when we become free from sinful activity. Otherwise, no. Okay, so, but what happened, that he was still not, you see, one may have an intelligent level, one may have a desire to become Krishna conscious and do the right thing according to the Shastras. That's the definition of right thing, right? That doing something according to the Shastras. But just fixing their intelligence is not enough. One may still have a push towards, the mind can still drag towards sense enjoyment by touching the sense objects with their senses. Okay, so he was supposed to be steady because he's now feeling joy, means he's getting actually released from some of the sinful activities, but he becomes captivated by Cupid and was moved by a desire to find his wife. So moved by a desire to find his wife, which kept him satisfied in household life, is actually allegorically means that in a devotee, right? Prabhupada is writing, when a devotee is actually feeling that the mind is not taking me to Krishna, the devotee will address this concern with another devotee, the process of thinking, feeling, and willing. That's the process of mind, right? It will be discussed. So basically, the queen is representing the intelligence. So he's aware, because he's free of sinful activities, he's aware that the mind is still conditioned. The mind is dragging me to something more sinful or another sinful activity. But now I have to take shelter of this intelligence, which is allegorically represented as wife, which can actually give me proper direction. Okay, that's what it means. There's so many coding and decoding language, So Prabhupada is saying, giving us some practical, this is a very practical verse, how to live in Krishna consciousness, day-to-day life. So, and Prabhupada is mentioning that this is a very significant verse for someone who's desiring to elevate themselves to higher level of Krishna consciousness. We will get stimulations or reminders from the mind, because that's why we come here. You see, that's why a conditioned soul comes to living entity, to enjoy. That's all. So it's not so surprising that one has a desire to do some sense enjoyment. It's not so surprising. So what should I do? Should I act on it, or should I actually talk it out with a senior devotee in confidence who can really help me and have with a good will, or a spiritual master? One needs to discuss it out with the spiritual master and get a proper direction. If I just keep it within my mind, and I keep it in my mind, and I go on, contemplating, then I will develop attachment, right? There's this verse. What is that verse? Sangasta sanjayate kama. What is that verse? Who knows the second chapter? Kama krodha vijayate.
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसा संगस्तेषु उपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो अभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात्
yeah. So like that. So sangasta, so dhyayate vishyan punsaha. Dhyayate means meditating, contemplating, thinking. Vishyan, vishaya. Vishaya means what? Object of a sense. That my sense is attracted to some object, and I'm contemplating, thinking, running the reel again and again in my head. Oh, I saw that sari in that movie worn by that actress. I need it. Or if somebody says, I saw that phone in that person's hand. I need that. Right? Or a teenager can say, oh, I saw those shoes being worn by that person. I need it. I need it. I need it. I need it. So the mind will giving us reason why is it a need? Need, not greed. So we can rationalize. We can rationalize our existence, and we can come up with excuses and actually contemplate. But there is a way out of this cycle. The way out is discuss it out with a senior devotee in confidence. Discuss this thinking, feeling, and willing action of the mind. It helps a lot. If you have nobody, then write to Prabhupada. Just take your pen and your journal and write it out to Srila Prabhupada. So writing itself will bring it out of one's consciousness in a physical world, where I can say that, oh my God, then I can see myself or oneself and one's mind as two separate entities. But if somebody keeps the stuff in the mind, the danger is that there is no separation. It becomes like one thought and one person. But if you bring it out in any form, discussing it or writing it in a journal to a higher authority, like Srila Prabhupada, which is very safe, then one can see that there is a difference between me and my thinking. Actually, I am so much caught up in this mire of three modes of nature. I actually need help. So this may become like a petition, over the time. I was hearing Prabhupada today, and Prabhupada was saying that that Krishna conscious, if you are advancing in Krishna consciousness, you must write. He's saying, you must write. He said, what is this Back to Godhead magazine for? for writing. It does not matter. You write 2 lines, but you write every day, right? So I was thinking that this is so potent. Like Prabhupada really wants us to write. And then this verse appears today, and then this is like very connected, that if we don't share it, then we actually become victimized. And then our material existence continues. That's one. That's two is something obvious if we can change, like sattvic ahar or foods in these categories, then I can have a balanced diet. But if I want to go and try out a gourmet meal in a very luxurious restaurant, then it becomes atyahar and prayas. To go to such a big restaurant and eat a gourmet meal, one needs to have money. And to have money, one needs to work. So this is an extra thing, right? Eating in a very big restaurant for sense gratification is extra. It's not a need. So for that extra, one has to endeavor extra, has to put in. My spiritual master says that we are always adjusting our material life for our spiritual life to fit in, right? Aren't we doing that? We are always adjusting our material life for our spiritual activities to fit in. Or where am I going to chant? Or in teenagers,
Yes,
some people
Mother.
actually lose taste for chanting and reading. So where am I going to chant? When am I going to chant? Or when am I going to read? Oh, let me just finish. So the priority is the material activity, but I'm trying to fit in my spiritual activity. So my Guru Maharaj raised up this question that what makes us not to do the opposite? Why can't we not adjust our material life according to our spiritual life? Until and unless one does that, then one is conditioned. That why can't I adjust my material life according to my spiritual life? Then that actually needs a lot of faith that Krishna will take care of me. It actually needs a lot of faith, because we lack in faith, because I think I have to take care of myself, I have to take care of my family, I have to take care of everybody, house, and so many other things. I need to, prioritize this. But if somebody has developed more faith in a very genuine manner, not like fanatically becoming an escapist, no, then that person will be able to do it. One person I know who is actually becoming like this nowadays is Aishwarya Subhadra. I met her in Mangalore. So she is a physician, right? And her husband is a big businessman, but then they have a small child and they're living in Mangalore because now Nishta Prabhu asked them to come. She could live a very luxurious life. She could work and her parents are physicians in Kerala too. So basically she's educated, so she can have everything, but she is chosen to be in the devotee association. So it's a very inspiring example that one can have such strong faith that I genuinely must do this in this lifetime. I know so many devotees. I'm fortunate to know so many devotees. But there's, of course, now Nishta Prabhu is the ideal example for me personally. I've seen him over the years. And it is very difficult to remain steady in Krishna consciousness year after year, moment after moment. Like Prabhu, the way Prabhu runs the temple is unique. Our temple used to be, and it still is. I think right now everything is under construction, so I didn't see. Of course, it's going to be the same because he's making like over 30 classrooms, which ISKCON temple has over 30 classrooms. Of course, all ISKCON temple, Mayapur Academy of Higher Education, Vrindavan Institute of Higher Education are also their institutes of higher education. But I want to say that city temple having over 30 classrooms is like unique in itself. So our temple in Mangalore, what I have seen is used to be 25% DDs and devotees and 75% books and education. That was the ratio. Our book storage room used to be bigger than our temple hall. And we used to have books in all languages. We used to distribute books in Mangalore in Arabic, Urdu, French, Spanish, English, Hindi, Kannada, Tamil, Malyalam, all these books we used to distribute. We didn't even know the language. I think one time we also had German. So, but we would go out. So why? Because the devotee association is so enticing. And then everything is like completely forgotten. Everybody is going south and you're like very happy and living a very nice Krishna conscious life. So after 5 years or 6 years or a few years of very, very intense devotee association, one can see that people have, okay, we may have earned some educational degree, but where is the character of one? Where is the character going? In the universities, it's very easy to develop bad association or to develop some bad habits also, right? And it's so obvious. But if you become Krishna conscious or come in touch with the devotees, these things are far away. Even though they may be there, obviously, they're still very far away. But it doesn't mean that they cannot come back later in life. This is what this verse is about. One's mind can still be agitated by sense objects and sense desire, but because of this association and because of sharpness of the intelligence in bhakti, one will have the strength to go and discuss this out or write it out, and many a times get saved from the wrath of the sense enjoyment. It's a poison, right? Our scriptures describe sense enjoyment in many obvious ways. Give me some similes or examples as to how the pleasure of the sense and sense enjoyment is described in the Shastras. Some examples. How are they explained?
Charvita Charvanana.
Very nice, very nice. So means that chewing the chewed. This Prahlad Maharaj says this in 7 Canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Very nice. What else? Give me more examples of how this sense and sense pleasure is explained or is mentioned or enunciated in the Shastras.
Sleeping serpent who bites anytime.
Serpent which bites, yes. Serpents which bites, yes. As if you have read that for 5th Canto, 14th chapter, Forest of Enjoyment, you will be able to give more examples. More examples.
Itching in the body.
Itching sensation, very nice. If somebody has
Camel's example also, Mataji.
Beginning and end, okay. What else? Somebody else is saying too.
Camel's example, Mataji. Camel wants to eat.
The thorn, very nice. Yes, that's very nice. So when the camel is eating the thorn, it appears very happy and smiley because one thinks that, it's enjoying its food, but actually it is not enjoying the food. What is the camel enjoying and laughing about? The camel actually, when he cuts the thorn and chews on the thorn of a plant or a cactus, it cuts the tongue and the tongue bleeds. So actually the camel is tasting its own blood and that is giving him the pleasure. So that's what it is about. Very nice. One or two more.
Donkey also, Mataji.
Donkey, how, Mataji? Give me the example.
It will be find the food on the way. Even then it will be waiting for the master to give it food.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. Very nice. Okay. What else? One more. You know example of the sense enjoyment in material world? The Shastra has explained. What example? You gave the example. Yes, one more.
Pig taking the stool, Mataji.
Pig is eating the stool. Okay, that example is given more on the context that there is no difference between the enjoyment of a pig who's enjoying the stool and enjoyment of a person who's enjoying a very nice halwa. The pleasure that comes is not different. Okay, that's more on that line. But thank you. That's very nice. But my question is that give me some similes or some examples from the Shastras as to how they are comparing the sense enjoyment to. So far, you have discussed Charvita Charvananam, chewing the chewed, All right, we have discussed the sensation of an itching. We have discussed the camel eating the thorns. We have discussed the donkey who is waiting for a morsel of grass. What else did we discuss about the sense enjoyment?
Honeybee
Anybody?
also we can tell no Mataji. Honeybee also we can tell no Mataji. Getting
Yeah, we
started.
can say that honeybee has a very strong sense of smell. Huh? Shastras are saying that. Okay,
No.
sorry, that's my son sitting and giving me some teenage examples. I want example from the Shastras. Well, you read Bhagavad Gita, tell me. So, all right, so there are more examples. Something came in my head and now it's running away. Beginning and end. Somebody said that these such pleasures have a beginning and an end. So they are not actually eternal. The sense enjoyment can never be eternal. Anyway, if it comes back, then I'll tell you. All right. So these are the references given that if somebody has done Krishna consciousness but later falls down because of bad association, that person is still better than a person who actually is just doing his regular activity towards family, society, and nation, but is not doing any effort to become Krishna conscious, has no profit. No profit at the end of the life. When they take the last breath, no profit. This is a very powerful statement. You know, I'm not saying this. Narad Muni is saying this. So cutting, this came to my mind. Practicing Krishna consciousness is like walking on the razor's edge. Do you understand razor's edge? The edge of a razor?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes,
Do you understand
Yes,
that?
Mataji.
Somebody is walking on the edge of a razor, then one has to be extremely, extremely careful because it can cut very, very quickly. Yes, it can cut very, very quickly and can actually cause bleeding and injury. So like that, I can fall down at any moment. Any moment I can fall down. So unless and until we are actually back home with Krishna, we should never consider ourselves very advanced. The moment we consider or one considers themselves very advanced, one must immediately understand that I need help. Now I have to press my panic button. Yeah, do you have in your cars, do you have that button in your keychain, panic button? When you can't find your park in the parking lot, you press that button. Yeah? You don't have it. I think you have it.
yes, Mataji.
Don't have it.
You have. My father has. So yes, you have it. That panic. Look at your key rings and you will see that one red button, and then that's like a panic button. So like that, if I am thinking myself to be very, very advanced, better than other devotees, then I need to press my panic button and seek help immediately. Better soon than late, because if I get late, then I will this consciousness will become very fixed and strong. It will be difficult and will take longer time to come off. Okay, it's better to prevent a disease than to cure a disease. Right? Is it better to prevent a heart attack or is it better to treat a heart attack? What's better?
Preventing is
Prevention is better than cure.
Prevention is better than
Prevent a
cure.
heart attack. So it's better to prevent oneself from falling down than to cure oneself after one has fallen down. Yes, Krishna will accept either ways, but it's still better to, do it because we have everything. Papa has given us everything. So why not be sincere and actually face our misgivings in the heart, face it with the gratitude and sincerity, with the intention to cure it and not to succumb to it, and make association. If you don't have association, pray for association, and the right to Prabhupada, develop the habit of revealing the mind to the higher authorities on regular basis. Okay, these are some of the practical things. Okay, so today we discussed that he's feeling very joyful, some joy within his heart after his hunger and thirst were satisfied, which means that he actually became little free from his sinful activities. And he wanted to go in the right direction of dharma, but again, the mind was dragging him to do some. Mind became captivated by Cupid. So he's like looking for wife, means that he's actually searching for intelligence that now help me, listen to me. My mind is again taking me down. Okay, this is the allegorical representation. We have to like decode these words.